At the edges of the Imperium, where the light of the Astronomicon faded, rogue trader Valeria Darrow piloted her ship, the Void Serpent, through the storms of the warp. The desire for glory and wealth consumed her soul, and whispers of forbidden treasures drove her ever deeper into the darkness. Among her closest confidants were Thalos and Eris. Thalos, a veteran astropath, had served on more ships than he cared to remember. His mind had been repeatedly brushed by the energies of the warp, leaving him pale, with milky eyes and scars marking his face. Yet, his gift for reading the warp currents made him an indispensable member of the crew. Eris, on the other hand, was a young guard, raised in the harsh environments of the frontier worlds. Despite her inexperience, she had earned the respect of the crew with her deadly precision and unwavering loyalty. Personally selected by Valeria as her escort during the most dangerous missions, her keen sense for danger had proven invaluable on more than one occasion.
Captain, the warp is shifting strangely,
Thalos muttered, his wide eyes glistening with a sheen of sweat.
There are currents that shouldn't exist. We should stop.
Valeria glared at him with disdain.
Afraid of shadows, Thalos? We are explorers. If you fear the dark, then be silent and let courage lead the way.
Eris, standing near the entrance of the bridge, glanced at the astropath with a faint expression of concern. She had seen his warnings ignored before, but something in the tension of his voice sent a chill down her spine. She said nothing, gripping the rifle she always carried tightly. The whispers of the warp grew louder. They spoke of a hidden system, a forgotten jewel amidst the distorted currents, where the ruins of an ancient xenos civilization lay waiting. Valeria ignored every warning and set a course. When the Void Serpent emerged from the warp, the air itself felt dense, almost tangible. The planets in the system stood like forgotten monuments, bathed in an eerie spectral light.
Arm yourselves,
Valeria ordered.
This place will not welcome us with open arms.
Siltaria, the primary planet, unfolded before them like a wound. The xenos ruins stretched for miles, distorted towers that clawed at the oppressive sky. Every step into the abandoned ancient city echoed like a reminder of something alive, something waiting. In the heart of the city, Valeria discovered a chamber adorned with pulsating alien glyphs. At its center, on a black stone altar, rested a crystalline artifact, cold and inviting. The light it emitted seemed to breathe, pulsing in rhythm with an ancient, unnatural cadence.
Oh, power,
Valeria hissed, stepping closer. Each step toward the altar grew heavier, as if the floor itself sought to hold her back. Her boots sank into a dense dust, like the ashes of something once living and now forgotten. When she stopped before the altar, the crystal blazed with a blinding light, and for a moment she saw something reflected on its surface. It wasn't her face, but a deformed entity, wreathed in flames and shadow, smiling back at her. The reflection quickly took form, its distorted lines converging into a sharp image. Valeria froze. It was her face, but twisted, consumed by a spectral greed, marked by glowing runes that pulsed with arcane energy. The voices that had once echoed indistinctly now grew clear.
Valeria,
They called with a venomous sweetness.
take us. Accept what you are destined to become.
Her hand trembled as she reached for the artifact. When her fingers finally touched it, a laugh filled the chamber, a distorted sound that mixed wails with joy. Energy exploded in a burst of light, engulfing her. The words fused into a single command etched into her spirit.
Now you are ours. Captain, no!
Thalos shouted,
Don't touch it. It's a trap.
but Valeria ignored the astropath. The artifact fused with her flesh, glowing runes carving into her skin as the crystal became a part of her. When Valeria emerged from the chamber, the ruins around her seemed animated by an unsettling energy. The glyphs on the walls pulsed with a slow, sinister rhythm. Her steps were deliberate, but the crew following her felt an unshakable sense of wrongness.
Do you hear that sound?
Eris muttered, her face pale.
It's like something is following us.
Valeria turned to the crew, her eyes gleaming with an otherworldly glow.
Do not fear.
She said, her voice distorted, almost a chorus.
No, we are infinite.
When they finally reached the clearing where the Void Serpent was docked, the crew froze. The ship was no longer as they had left it. Its lights flickered as though something were draining its energy. The hull seemed alive, veined with dark lines that pulsed faintly. With an expression that sent shivers through everyone, Valeria said,
The ship awaits us. We no longer belong to this world. Our destiny lies beyond.
Her tone carried a certainty that left no room for argument. As they boarded, the ship seemed to breathe. The corridors groaned and a low lament echoed from its walls. The lights cast shadows with no source, and the metal reflected fleeting images of deformed faces. The crew's minds were invaded by visions of rotting flesh and empty skies. Guided by the voices, Valeria plotted a course to the Maelstrom, the dark heart of the warp. When the ship entered, reality unraveled. The metal of the bulkheads rippled like liquid, and the crew moved like marionettes. In the depths of the Maelstrom, a colossal shape emerged from the warp's turbulence. A space hulk, an enormous amalgam of ships fused together over millennia of distortion. The Void Serpent approached slowly.
What are we looking at?
Eris muttered.
No, it can't be.
She added, her voice breaking.
Captain, that ship? It's the Void Serpent.
The silence was suffocating. The space hulk before them was unmistakably their own ship, corrupted and decayed. The hull, warped by arcane energies, pulsed like a living organism, its glyphs glowing with a cold, mocking light. Eris dropped to her knees, her eyes wide with horror. It can't be true," she whispered, her voice trembling. "This is madness. This isn't our ship." But every fiber of her being knew the truth. It was the Void Serpent, the same ship that had brought them into the Maelstrom. And yet, it wasn't. It was something more, and something less. An empty shell bent to the will of dark forces.
"Don't you see?"
Valeria said, her sickly smile revealing teeth too white, too sharp. Her face was etched with glowing runes, and her eyes were windows to the void.
"We've always been here."
Her words echoed through the bridge, a whisper that seemed to come not just from Valeria, but from the ship's very corridors. The walls groaned, and a low, resonant wail rose from the living metal of the Void Serpent. The lines of space and time twisted around the ship. Visions of endless cycles appeared before the crew, showing shadows of themselves repeating the same mistakes, the same choices. Every warp jump, every desperate voyage was nothing but a repetition, an eternal loop fueled by their own despair.
"We never left!"
Eris sobbed, tears streaming down her face. Her voice cracked as she clutched her chest, as though the weight of the truth was crushing her.
"Every damn jump! It's the same! We're trapped!"
Thalos, his face rigid and his eyes wide, stepped forward, his voice reduced to a hoarse whisper.
It's the warp. It uses us. We are its tools. We haven't been alive, not since we touched that crystal.
His words faded, swallowed by another groan from the walls, as if the ship itself were laughing. The Void Serpent was no longer just a ship. It had become a living creature of the warp, a corrupted and sentient entity trapped in an eternal cycle of damnation. Every jump was a return, every awakening a sentence. "The stars whisper of a lost ship," an old astropath recounted years later. "A ship that carries forbidden treasures, but those who seek it find only madness and damnation. The warp does not forgive. The warp watches and laughs again and again.